Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Bruce Firestone. I'm best known as the founder of the Ottawa Senators, but these days I do more real estate investment and business coaching, and I'm also a real estate broker. And you can see on my screen here, I'm going to speak for a few minutes, hopefully not too long. What do you do in recessionary times? There's a lot of talk about the recession in the States and in Canada, maybe a global setback. So, what do you do in recessionary times to take care of yourself and your family? And what I'm going to say is something my dad told me before he passed away, so quite a long time ago now. He said that people should never retire. What are you going to do? Sit in front of the television all day? And I hate golf because I'm so bad at it, so I'm not going to golf. So what do you do? And uh, how do you occupy yourself? How do you become and stay productive? So a lot of people in the coaching industry um, we'll talk about how to reduce costs in a recession, and that's not my focus. I realize that's important. I think we should all be looking at that. How do you lower your grocery bill, and what can you do to cut other costs? Maybe you have three streaming services and you go down to two, but that's not my focus. My focus for a long time, in fact, the last 11 years since I started this coaching and realtor practice, has been on the revenue side of business. How do you increase sales? How do you increase revenues? How do you get more access to financing? And sort of that's kind of been my focus. And so, what I wanted to talk about today is that what a lot of people have been doing, not just in the times that we're in now, but for the last 11 years since I've been doing it, I've been helping people grow their existing businesses or start some kind of side hustle. And I'm going to show you a few examples. This is fairly recent. This is a very nice young couple who live in a rural part of Ontario. And they have started creating these incredible three-season bunkies, which you can see here. They're called Prairie Schooners. And these are the wagons that many pioneers crossed the plains in a couple of hundred years ago. And what they're doing is they're bringing it back and they're turning these wagons, they're building these wagons, and they're turning them into three-season bunkies. And they're really great for people who have rural property. So farmers, cottagers, people are selling sheds, glamping resort owners, campground operators, even urban dwellers who want something different for their backyard. You can have your grandchildren or your children visit you, and they've got a place to crash. What I really like about these wagons, and they're called Prairie Schooners, as I mentioned, is that they're on these farm wagons, so they don't really damage your land. You can haul them across, and I think two or three individuals, two or three men can pull them, although you see it on the screen here, they're being pulled by a tractor. So you just wheel them onto your backyard, they're fully off grid, and there you go. And this is done by Jess and Josh, people I coach. Let's see if I can show you something else. Oh, yeah, this is actually one of my daughters. She runs from a very small workshop, only 160 square feet. She designs these fabulous dresses and garments for fashion-forward women in the States and in Canada, some overseas as well. And from a very small workshop, she can do everything. She can design them, fabricate them, market them. And her marketing channels are pretty simple. It's mostly TikTok and Insta. And she'll get, I think her number one video on Instagram is 900,000 views. And you can see her URL there. I'm going to go back one slide too. So her URL is proofcanada.ca. And these folks here, Jess and Josh, are blacksheepwagons.ca. So if you're interested, you can find out more on their websites.
Oh my God, in the sun, it looks so good.
Sorry about that. Here's another thing that I really like as a side hustle. I coach some people who actually have started these private dog parks, and you can see a sketch on the left-hand side of what it might look like. And these things, can make real money. They can make 100,000, 200,000, or even more a year, and they provide outdoor private dog park hourly and seasonal rentals. In other words, you can actually sell season tickets for dog owners and dogs. They might provide some boarding, dog training, dog walking. They're a magnet for sponsorships. I mean, think about the pet food industry. I think we spend more on our pets than we do on seniors. You can organize Mingle days and playgroups, both for human beings and dogs. And you can sell human treats and doggy treats and toys. It's a great business model if you can find a piece of land that you own, or you can even just lease a piece of land and create one. You have to check the zoning too. Now, this is something here on the screen here that my oldest son, Andrew, talks about all the time. He's an economist. He lives in Australia with his family. And he told me that by starting certain types of I guess home-based businesses, you can get 1,000% ROI. And when anybody tells you that you can get 1,000% ROI, you really want to check that. So we actually wrote something about that, and I'm going to put the link that you see on the screen here at the bottom on the YouTube, in the description under the YouTube video. And if you want to read it, you can. And he's a good economist, and he proves, I guess, in that article that you really can get a tremendous return if you do some things like grow your own fruits, vegetables, nuts, berries, what have you. You can do it in your backyard if you have one, even if you're renting a place, if you have permission from your landlord, you can do that, or you can go get a community garden. They're usually quite inexpensive. But there's all kinds of other things that you can do. These are kind of old skills that produce really good returns. Obviously home cooking instead of going to restaurants, baking, yogurt making. My wife makes the best yogurt ever. Cheese making and beer brewing. Some of those items that he talked about. Child mining, woodworking. Andrew makes his own furniture, candle making. Andrew also raises chickens and or ducks, but his chickens. And then he does stuff like load shifting. He added solar panels and battery storage. Just hanging up your clothes instead of putting them in the dryer can really pay off. And then the last one he added, which I think is a good lesson for a lot of us, including yours truly, pay off your mortgages on your house as quickly as you can if you have a house. All right. Some of the other things that clients of mine have been doing for years now, and is really helping them in recession times and in good times as well. You can see on the screen here, this is a basement renovation done by Ali Alili, coaching client of mine. And you can see he put in his basement, not one, and this is legal, by the way, it met all the zoning requirements. He put in not one, not two, but three small micro suites in his basement. Excuse me, I have a bit of a cold, so I apologize if I sound a bit croaky. So you come down the stairs here and you turn right, you can see a stacked washer and dryer, which is a common area. You turn left and you go into kind of a common kitchen and dining room. You turn left, if you can see my cursor moving, and you're in one of the micro suites. So each micro suite has its own sort of lunch counter, work counter, fridge, mini bar, its own bathroom, little entertainment area, work area, sleeping area. And there's three of them. There's one here, and one here. And he gets about twice, maybe 2.5 times the rent he would get if he just had a 3-bedroom apartment down there. It's at least a factor of two. And the other good thing about it is that his tenants don't tend to fight, because roommates tend to fight. It's your turn to clean the bathroom. No, it's not. I did it last week. It's yours today, Bruce. Well, no. Or who ate the last slice of pizza? Who drank the last beer? Well, each of these micro suites have their own bar fridge, their own little microwave, and maybe a toaster oven, so they can do some of their own meal prep. So they can live independently in a group of three, and it's been very successful. So tenants tend to stay longer, pay a little bit more, and Ali has done really well with this design. The other thing I really like, and I've talked a lot about this, is adding a backyard workshop. If you're interested, in Ontario, I think now it's legal to have a workshop up to 161.5 square feet. That's 15 square meters. You can just put it in your backyard and you can have it as a workshop or a backyard office. Maybe it's a man cave or a she shed. That doesn't really produce much in the way of returns, but the office will and the workshop will. And I think there's a real business here. The one that you're seeing on the screen here is actually designed by a client of mine by the name of LVSO. And LVSO got a wonderful touch and design. And so these are beautiful buildings where you can not only put it in your backyard, you'll probably sell it to some of your neighbors and around your city or town. Okay, so if you're interested in learning more about how to start a side hustle, I did a course a few years ago, actually during COVID, because people were a little bored and worried, and rightly so. So I have a pre-recorded course called Pivot, and it was a pretty good course. I think we had about 70 or 80 students sign up for it. Anyway, if you're interested in this, you can have this course not for $350, but for $250 plus HST. And you'll learn from 12 great case studies and 12 really great entrepreneurs. You can see the list on the right-hand side, and I'll go quickly through it. This is the first one is a lecture by Jamie Montero, also a coaching client and realtor client of mine, who established Purdy Paws Spa when she was a single mom with no money. Been fantastically successful. It's a pet spa. Christian Spilfogle, who transitioned from tech to real estate. Siavash Naruzian, who went from his business degree at the university where I was teaching to establish Empire Deck and Fence, a very successful company in its time. The next one is really interesting to me. This was actually something started Marvel Comics and Dinosaur Comics writer Ryan North, was actually started in one of my entrepreneurship classes like more than 20 years ago. And Ryan has become like this internationally well-known Comic-Con kind of attendee where people hang on his every word. So you'll read about or you'll learn about what he did. Then Jen Walton started her own Airbnb business, and she went from 0 to 150 apartments and homes managed in 3 years. That's pretty good growth. Pivot 6 was the Linda Gary interior story, how she started a blinds business. And some of the stuff she did, especially her marketing, was fantastic. Dan Cardamore is another student of mine, an incredible tech entrepreneur. And I have to tell you before you take the course, Dan is such a brilliant guy. I don't understand half of what he says, so I hope you'll do better than me. And then there's Chris Long, another coaching client of mine, who was a carpenter, who has established a very successful group of long yards. His last name is Long, and they're called long yards. These are contractor yards, both in Canada and in the States. Class number 9 was Hire the Best. That's Dave Perry. He's a good friend of mine, and he's one of the top recruiters in the United States and in Canada. And he says, if you're going to hire anybody, hire the best, hire up. I think he's right about that. Lesson number 10, Erica Godwin worked with me, was a colleague of mine, and she started a really cool company called Barketing.co, if you can believe it, Barketing.co. And it's marketing for dog walkers and others involved in the pet industry, and it's been very successful. She supplies websites to support dog walkers and other dog services or pet services. And that was kind of a bonus lecture. I asked her if she'd do it, and she said sure. Class 11, this was Tim Reed in Alberta. He started something called a day home business, Little Steps Academy. And then the last one is something I did myself, which I call Main Street makeovers, how you can buy old buildings and renovate them. And many of my clients have done that successfully. So that's the Pivot course. If you're interested, I'll give you my email address at the end of this video, and you can just let me know if you want it. And I'll send you, there's a workbook, there's some assignments to do and lots of videos to watch if you're interested. So for $250, I think there's a lot of value there. If you'd rather just talk to me, you can book a session with me. I do charge for that. I charge $350. That's Canadian dollars, by the way. So quite a bit less, I guess, in US currency. $350 plus HST. And there's I'll put this in the description on YouTube. There's a link there. You could just book a time with me if you want. And I'll help you understand or improve your business model, which is very important, how to access more financing, including self-capitalization or bootstrap financing. It's very important to have marketing channels that work, and I call that MMB, the magic marketing button, the easy button, the one you push and you get more clients and customers. And certainly there are other things we can focus on. It will be really your agenda, not mine. And I couldn't leave this without at least showing you a business model. And I have to say, before Steve Jobs at Apple passed away, I learned that he was spending about 50% of his time on Apple business models, not Apple products. They're very important, but Apple business models. What's the business model behind the product? And he really understood the power of business models. And it's the iPhone's business model, not the iPhone itself, but the business model behind the iPhone that made Apple, I think, the biggest, wealthiest company on the planet, something like $3 trillion. I never thought I'd see a company worth that much. But anyway, I just thought I'd show you something really quite simple. I coach a number of spa businesses, and I've been working on this for a long time. This particular business model, and the stuff that you see in blue here on the screen here is how most spas are run. On the right hand side, where you see all these circles, those are spa clients, mostly female. Not always, but mostly, and certainly in this particular case, 97% of their clients were female. So that's the first dimension on the demand side. Who are your clients? Then you've got the spa providing some kind of services. And then on the left side, this is a very simple business model. Who do you have over here? You have your suppliers. So, I don't know, Dermalogica, L'Oreal, all the products that you might buy to, provide services at your spa. So that would be a typical model, just what you see in blue here. Left-hand side would be suppliers, right-hand side would be the demand side, the clients or customers. In the middle is you doing something. That's it. That's your business model. But there's more to it than that. So what I asked the owners of the spa is, what do the clients of your clients want? And they didn't really understand what I was getting at. And I said, well, you have to go at least two dimensions on both sides, the supply side and the demand side. And there are companies that go much, much further than one or two dimensions, but we'll just do two here. And on this side, on the right-hand side, the clients of the clients are mostly men. So these are mostly female clients of the spa, 97%, as I said, and their clients are, often their partners, husbands, boyfriends, whatever. And I asked the spa owners, what do these people want from the spa? And it turns out what they want from the spa is gift certificates and also maybe other things like sale of branded items, spa robes, water bottles, hair wraps, candles, aromatherapy, bath salts, body lotion, scrubs, and so that they can buy stuff from the spa to give to their significant other. And the first year that they introduced gift certificates, they sold almost $250,000 worth of gift certificates in about 6 weeks just before Christmas. So that was a pretty important additional revenue stream for them. So you can see that from business models, you can learn new things. And it's simple, but it's quite powerful. So that's on this side, on the demand side. Now we'll go on to the left-hand side of the screen here and to the second dimension on the supply side. And I said, you should treat your employees as hairstylists, colorists, estheticians, nail technicians, whatever, colorists. You should treat them as suppliers to the business rather than just as employees. And then I sort of sketched in here at the top, the brain. And this is the back-end system that starts to do some matching and reduces the amount of manual labor that you have to do to administer and manage this spa practice. So this brain can match, this client on the right-hand side with her favorite hairstylist or favorite colorist or favorite registered massage therapist, and they can do appointments. So this is the back-end system that really runs almost all the websites, the big ones that, we all use every day, Amazon and Wayfair and Canadian Tire, whatever it might be, Home Depot. So the brain is doing this matching. So you can see these kind of arrows go both ways here, right? Okay, so you're matching that. And then we discovered something else, looking at the suppliers. In the early days of the spa, they weren't getting from their suppliers, Dermalogica, L'Oreal, and all these others, volume rebates, freebies, samplers, junkets, so that some of their staff could go on free junkets and get some additional training and discounts. So maybe the suppliers can, supply, material to the spa, but they can also provide additional financial support. And that's a very important new revenue stream, if you will, for the spa. And then as time went on, this particular spa had additional land, and I got involved in the tiny home industry, which I kind of like. And I coach, I think, 5 tiny home builders in the States and in Canada. And I said, why don't you buy some of these tiny homes and then you can have spa weekends? So a bunch of ladies can come along and have spa weekends, take advantage of all the services, and you can do weddings and you can do romantic getaways. I mean, there's no end of it. So you can see from this simple business model, you learn a lot of connections and new connections, right? And then the last thing I'll point out, and I'm almost done, so I apologize for keeping you this long. This arrow that sort of sticks out of the top of the brain is the marketing dimension. I call that an orthogonal marketing dimension. And this is where you have to find your magic marketing button. And one of the things I recommended to the spa is they start something similar to what Luxbox does, and you can just look up Luxbox, and that is for clients who have come to the spa, they may sign up for a box that would be delivered monthly, quarterly, whatever, semi-annually, where you can put in samplers from from your suppliers, which are provided to you for free, and you can send it to people and they'll pay you for that, right? And so people will actually pay you to do marketing. So I suggested that that might be the next natural extension. All right. So this is again how to contact me. I'm Bruce Firestone. I have a PhD in urban economics from the Australian National University. I have a Master's of Engineering Science from the University of New South Wales in Sydney. And my civil engineering degree was from McGill University in Montreal. And I'm a real estate investment and business coach. I'm also a real estate broker with Royal LePage. And probably the best way to get in touch with me is via email. It's Bruce at brucemfirestone.com. You have to put the M in there. Bruce at brucemfirestone.com. I'm on that pretty much 24/7. So I think that's it. I'm going to stop the recording now, and thank you very much for watching this.